The death of Tupac Shakur is being re-examined by a new Las Vegas police team, in case you were unaware. New developments are occurring in Tupac's murder case, the news said. Fans believe that Snoop is to blame for Tupac's death after new evidence was discovered, and rappers in the industry, including Diddy, Suge Knight, and Snoop Dogg, are set to be detained and questioned. It starts with the feds questioning Snoop's involvement after this interview.
With Tupac, though, in regards to Tupac, I heard a story, did you give him different advice that night on where to go?
I didn't give him no advice.
Right.
We wasn't seeing eye to eye.
Right.
So.
Same during the Tyson.
Yeah, this incident that I'm explaining to you right now was the day before that.
Okay.
So when they got to Vegas, they went their way, I went back. I mean, when we got to LA, they went to Vegas and I went home. That's why I wasn't in the car with them.
As Snoop Dogg mentioned,
Due to last-minute changes, Snoop Dogg was unable to join Tupac and Suge Knight at the BMW. This was likely the result of an altercation between the two the day before.
Last time me and Tupac was on the same page, and I did an interview with Angie Martinez, and she asked me how did I feel about Puffy and Biggie, and I told her that I like their music and I want to do music with them. Bro didn't like that, Tupac didn't like that, so we had a misunderstanding. So on the flight back to LA, I didn't feel comfortable around them for what they had did, as far as I didn't let my security ride with me. So to protect myself and to, prevent from happening, I slept under a blanket with the knife and the fork just in case something was to go wrong, but it didn't.
Since the murder of Tupac took place within 48 hours, the authorities are highly suspicious that Snoop might have been tipped off. Many people think that Snoop Dogg, who was extensively tapped into the streets 20 years ago, opted not to get in that car because he might have received a tip that Tupac was going to be targeted tonight. 2 days before his death, Snoop admitted to feeling animosity for Tupac in another interview that the feds found.
I say a week before he died, we was best of friends. 2 days before he died, I don't think he liked me.
Why?
Because we was in New York, and it happened. New York, they shot at me and did all kind of shit to me, like just the worst you could think of. And I forgave him. And went and did an interview and was asked, how do I feel about Puffy and Biggie? And I was like, I want to do some music with them. And I just rubbed Cuz the wrong way, like tried to kill me, out at you, and you talking about you want to do a song with him. I wasn't thinking about his emotions. I was thinking about the way I felt at the time. I wasn't into no controversy. I liked his music. They was our friends. We was all friends at one point. This video footage of all of us hanging.
Tupac Shakur's alleged Fed affiliation, which Snoop Dogg discovered through an officer's interview that Tupac was an industry plant who sought to stifle the rivalry between the Red and Blue Street teams, would later be linked to all of this material.
Well, it turns out when I talked to Tupac's longtime mentor, political mentor, former Black Panther Chokwe Lumumba, who was his first business manager, he's told me, I basically asked, well, was Tupac only pretending to be in order to appeal to gangs and politicize them? And he said yes. And that was part of his thug life agenda that he came up with his imprisoned stepfather, Mutulu Shakur. And so Tupac was just using that in order to get the leaders to call peace truces, first in Los Angeles, then throughout California, and then throughout the country. And that was why he was pretending to be this gangster type. And really, he was just an intellectual prodigy.
Obviously, the plan didn't work out, and he passed very unexpectedly. Those investigating Tupac's murder also came up with the intriguing hypothesis that he is still alive after reviewing the evidence they obtained, which makes sense given that Snoop wouldn't want to be near him in Las Vegas if he found out that Tupac was a Fed. It actually raises questions because in 2010, an interview with rapper Trey really turned things around. It's odd to note that Trey disclosed in this 2010 interview that he and Tupac used to be friends and even worked together on a couple of records. But at the end of the interview, the cameraman dropped his camera on the floor because he had forgotten to stop recording. In response to the interviewer's question regarding Tupac, you can hear Trey say, "The last time I saw him, he was in Cuba."
if you ain't ready for it, get on the sidewalk.
One last question. Nobody knows. Y'all good? Yeah, we good. Thanks a lot, man. We good.
Last time I saw him, he was in church.
A video that allegedly showed Tupac lounging in a Cuban parking lot was suddenly uploaded to a news website after only 2 weeks.
That's Pac, man. He with the outlaw. And Reg from Holla Back. He's trying to be friendly and get autographed. Holla Back exclusive, baby.
That is what led to the Tupac is alive in Cuba theory, which has been the most popular theory ever since, in case you didn't know. In 2025, though, it doesn't appear to be a theory anymore, because Suge Knight agrees that Tupac is still alive and healthy, as he has said in other interviews over the previous 20 years. He claims in one interview in particular that Tupac was doing well in the hospital before he passed away, stating, quote, "Tupac and I were joking and laughing when I left that hospital. It's hard for me to understand how someone can go from performing well to doing so poorly."
When I left that hospital, me and Pac was laughing and joking. So I don't see how somebody can turn from doing well to doing bad.
So you seriously think that he might still be alive?
I'm gonna tell you this, Pac, you never know.
Strangely though, police documents indicate that Tupac was in a coma when he got to the hospital. If Tupac was not conscious, how could he and Suge be laughing? But in an interview with Suge Knight a decade ago, he said the same thing. Tupac is still alive and doing well.
He was conscious on the way to the hospital.
He was conscious on the way to the hospital. He was conscious in the ambulance. He was conscious after they did the surgery.
What was the last thing that he said to you?
Although Suge Knight has believed that Tupac is still alive since his purported death, the terrifying thing is that he almost died at a nightclub after a man pointed a gun at him 6 times after the 2008 interview, in which Suge disclosed that information. Suge Knight was hesitant to provide any information to the police since he immediately realized it was because he had spoken about Tupac in a public interview. However, the saddest part is that his own son, Suge Jr., made the identical mistake was made in 2018. Following his Instagram announcement that Tupac was still alive and living in Malaysia, Suge Jr. posted another picture of a text message in which he was told, "You've said too much. It's now time for you to go." Suge Jr. then began spreading frenetic images of Tupac with modern-day celebrities like Beyoncé and 50 Cent. He implied that he was being hunted down for revealing all of this information by writing, "He never left us, but they'll be after me soon," as a caption for the photo of Tupac and Beyoncé. Suge Jr.'s father was at the court, so he would have the greatest knowledge of the matter, according to some, while others believe it was a PR stunt to help him gain social media popularity. The gaps in the account become apparent when you contrast all of that with the police documents surrounding Tupac's death. On September 7th, 1996, Tupac was first in Las Vegas with his label's head, Suge Knight. After the event, the two saw an OP in the hotel lobby. They had been planning to attend a Mike Tyson battle at the MGM Grand.
And their entourage went to the Mike Tyson, the MGM Grand. Keefe D and his nephew, Orlando Lane Anderson, and 2 of their friends were also there. Keefe D told LAPD Detective Greg Kading more than a decade ago in a proffer that couldn't be used against him. The shooting was retaliation after Tupac jumped Orlando and up at the casino. Surveillance cameras recorded the fight. Tupac was angry that Lane had stolen his necklace years prior in Compton. Tupac, Suge Knight, and the entourage left the casino quickly.
Tupac and Suge would have to go back to their hotel to change before going to a bar to dance the night away after security broke up their altercation with the ops at around 11 p.m. Turning on their black BMW, they headed down Las Vegas, halting at a red light on the way to the club. An automobile would come up next to them at the light, and they would begin to talk as they drove there.
Knew about Tupac's concert at the Club 662. Members, including Orlando and Keefe D, jumped in their white Cadillac and started cruising the strip looking for the offender. Before long, they finally spotted Tupac's caravan. At the intersection of East Flamingo Boulevard and Koval Lane, the white Cadillac pulled alongside the black BMW with Suge on the driver and Tupac on the passenger seats. The back window of the Cadillac rolled twice in the chest, once in the arm, once in the thigh.
The aftermath of the tragedy remained a mystery for 14 years. That is, until the police started to examine the case. and found an interview with a man named KD. That seemed concerning. Keffe D began the conversation, which was done on DJ Vlad's show, by telling how he actually pulled up on Tupac with firearms after finding him.
And Bubble Up was the driver, and Baby Lane and Freaky were in the back seat.
We was just all in the car, yeah. Just say that.
This was the white Cadillac.
Yeah.
So you guys are driving around, and then you hear these girls say, Tupac, Tupac.
Got to the light. We was gonna go drink, and he happened to be hanging out the window. He was hanging out the window like he was in a parade.
Tupac?
Yeah, he was.
So what happens next? You said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger.
However, at the same moment, Keffe D revealed that Tupac was the only one targeted in the incident, since he began reaching for a gun as the other automobile came to a halt at the red light.
You said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat, and you said that Tupac pulled out a...
It looked like he was reaching, yeah. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you actually...
No, once he got the reaching, I got the ducking.
So someone from your car...
That's what happened.
...started at Tupac and Suge.
This suggests that Tupac knew something was going to occur in the street, since many people didn't think Keffe D was telling the truth. In response, he posted a never-before-seen video of his own police interview on the night of the event.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you? He looks right at you?
Yeah, he looks at me.
Okay. When he looks over at you, and then, Tupac's busy getting evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out of the
back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside of their car?
I seen him going Suge head. I thought he was.
So Orlando across Dre?
He leaned over on the window.
The court records would later include Keffe D's response to Tupac's passing, which shows his sincere emotion.
Yeah, I hate that happened, dog. I really do, man. It took a lot of people's lives, dude. Hate that happen. Probably to God. I feel that was wrong, man. It was just wrong, purely wrong. You know what I'm saying? I wish it had never happened. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion on it. This would never.
At this point, things become a little odd, and it will be exposed. Keffe D writes in his book Compton Street Legend about his role in Tupac's demise. After 10 years, why is he still being arrested for the crime he even mentioned, committing and knowing the perpetrators? Because Tupac is still alive and the evidence in this video is getting too close to solving the mystery, fans believe it's a cover-up. Therefore, they believe that locking up an elderly guy for the crime will slow down the news. Remember, this is Hollywood, so you never know what's going on behind the scenes.